Y'all, let me tell you how I know for a fact that your neighbors know everything about you. So I'm doing surveillance on a guy who has this like workers' comp claim, right? The first day on the case, it's like 5:30, 6 o'clock. And I park on the side of the road. Well, I see that his garage door opens. Well, it's still dark that early. Turn the dome light on in my car so that I can real quick just kind of look around, find my camera. Well, I found it, and then I turn the light on. Next thing I know, someone's knocking on my window all willy-nilly. Mind you, my windows are like double limo tent, like blacked out. And like all I see is a super dark shadow and a face this close to my window. Well, I'm a little bit in panic mode, so I'm just sitting there quiet, not moving. Like, what do I do? Well, then she says, I know that you're in there. I saw that your light was on. Well, so now I could tell that it was like an older woman who was just like being nosy. So I'm like, oh, okay, like this is fine, right? So I roll down my window just enough to talk to her. And I'm like, hi. Well, she immediately looks at me through like the crack in the window, like this much. And she's like, oh, what are you doing? I tell her I'm a PI. I told her I was just looking for a specific vehicle. I didn't want her to get all crazy and like, what if she gets scared and calls the law on me? But then I thought, this lady's old as Methuselah, but still had the balls to knock on a stranger's window, dark car where she couldn't see inside, just because she wanted to know what was going on. This woman is scared. She's nosy. She's already proven she's about to risk her life to get some information. So I decided she can give me some too. So I told her, I said, listen, I'm not allowed to say this, but one of your neighbors is having an affair with another one of your neighbors. And she goes, I know just who that is. Because of course she does. Well, anyways, we start chatting. We became best friends. She says, here, honey, I'm gonna move my car. Why don't you pull up right here in my driveway? Then she says, I know you can't tell me, but I bet the HOA department called you out here because I think they get enough complaints to investigate. Well, listen, I'm only human, so naturally I had to know. And I said, investigate what? And y'all, she let her rip. Well, by this time I had already pulled up in her driveway because it gave me a really good view of my guy's garage. And I had propped up my camera on this little bendable tripod thing, and y'all, she starts going through every single neighbor. Some about TJ's cheating on Mary, and they got another dog, but the limit is only like 2 dogs. But the third dog really belongs to TJ's mistress. It sneaks over to the house while TJ's wife is at work. But she also thinks that TJ is sleeping with the neighbor on this side because, and I quote, their dogs just know each other too well for them not to be familiar with one another. So basically, this TJ fella, his dog's giving him away. Meanwhile, my guy's outside in his garage working on a lawnmower. Y'all, this man's his neck back. He can't go to work. He's supposed to be wearing a neck brace. He can't get out of bed. He's over here picking up the right lawnmower from the front like he's freaking He-Man. So I gotta keep old Bertha talking so I can keep recording from her driveway. Well, she starts going down the neighborhood and she's spilling the beans and the dirty secrets of every house on her street. Y'all, she knew all the kids in the neighborhood, what kids was making out with who. Y'all, she knew too much even for my comfort. But also, I was impressed as hell. Anyway, then she gets to my guy's house and she spills all the ever-loving beans on this fella. She said that at one time she was best friends with his wife and they would go to the flea markets a lot together. And the wife basically told her that the husband was a scammer and that not only does he always do like these insurance fraud claims to like get a bunch of money, but he also does BMX racing, like with the bikes, and that he goes every weekend. And she knows that because her nephew's best friend is the neighbor of my subject and he does the BMX too. And the husband, my subject, told the wife that she couldn't hang out with Bertha no more because he thought Bertha was trouble. And so she explained that the only time she could hang out with the wife was on the weekends when the husband goes to the BMX. But she made sure to let me know there ain't no hanky-panky going on. She said, and I quote, I'm strictly dickly. Have you ever heard that come out of the mouth of an 80-something-year-old? We're out here all willy-nilly having tea and crumpets in front of God and everybody while this fella's over here working on a lawnmower. My videotape's just a-rolling. Anyway, so I ended up coming back on the weekend in case Bertha was right. And she was. This fella goes to BMX and guess what? He's got a secret little BMX boot thing. It's a whole different... I'll do a part 2.